All right, let's talk about Spencer Rattler, who had a very interesting game for the New Orleans Saints. You know, a guy who was a fifth-round pick, at one point was a really hyped-up prospect, kind of, fell off a little bit in terms of how he was viewed as a prospect, fell all the way to the fifth round. However, I thought he showed some nice stuff in this game. It did ultimately kind of go the wrong way at the end, and we'll talk about what went wrong, what adjustments Tampa Bay made, and how New Orleans wasn't really able to, they tried to make adjustments, it just didn't kind of work out. So we'll get into all of it. Let's just get into it. Let's start off with this play, because we definitely saw a good amount of athleticism out of Spencer Rattler, using his legs to make things happen. This one, just a really good play by him. So the concept itself is it's going to be just a three-man rush for Tampa Bay. They have 5 players on the line, but both guys lined up on the edge will drop back into coverage, one of them being a linebacker, but the other being an edge rusher, and then everyone else is playing man. Watch how when Rattler takes a snap, due to a lot of coverage, nothing really is open, but because of the three-man rush and no edge rushers, Rattler does the right thing, reads it, gets outside the pocket. Here's the issue, is there still is an edge rusher on that side of the field. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, he's reading this play, kind of his job is, hey, if Rattler tries to run, make sure you're aware of this and can get over and try and make a play. But watch Rattler make a move, gets around him, and then for a second you're wondering, is he even going to slide? He gets around another guy, finally does dive and make sure he doesn't get hit. Really good job there to make something like that work. The athleticism really worked. I will be honest, there was a time or two when he probably shouldn't have looked to run. Like right here, so this is the 2nd down and 5 situation. Tampa Bay in a zone blitz, only 2 players are going to be really covering over the middle of the field right here. There's that route right there. You have Zion McCollum, the corner, who could take a step up and make sure he covers that area, but that's not really going to happen on this play. So watch how when this play begins, Rattler looks over in that direction. And, again, there is an open player just off screen right here. You can get the first down. Instead, he decides to scramble up and then, finally does, to his credit, get rid of the football. But at that point, it had already been covered up and it was, he was getting hit, couldn't make the throw. So had an opportunity to gain some yards there, wasn't quite able to do it. There was a couple of those, there were. But then there were plays like this, which this is going to be a 3rd down and 5 situation. You have a receiver who's going to ultimately go towards the sideline. But watch how when Rattler takes the snap, again, there's, enough time for him to get outside the pocket. He's throwing a really off-balance throw. I mean, pretty much full-out sprinting towards his right. Is there a window here? A little bit, but you're going to have to throw accurately this far down the field. But that's what he is able to do. And again, this was a guy who there were some Patrick Mahomes comparisons back in college. It didn't go too well, which is ultimately why he was a 5th-round pick. But you can see why there were the comparisons, right? He is capable of making a play like this, which is really good to see if you're a Saints fan. And I'll be honest, not all of this was the highest degree of difficulty stuff from Rattler. I thought that Clint Kubiak did a great job at kind of, really getting some good plays against this Tampa Bay defense, getting some blown coverages, like, for example, this one. It's a cover 3 zone that Tampa Bay is in. We always talk about, crazy Todd Bowles. This is a very basic concept. But here's what the Saints are going to do. First, to have their only wide receiver, who's, there's only 2 wide receivers on this play. The one on the right side of the screen is going to run more over the middle. And then they have a tight end who's going to essentially follow and go like that. And the hope is that the wide receiver's route can draw the corner further in. He's the only wide receiver. That's the guy that the corner, Zion McCollum, is going to be looking at, right? And look, when this play begins, that's exactly what happens. McCollum does go over there, and typically what you would want to do if you're Tampa Bay is have a linebacker be the one who gets over and is able to cover that player right there, the tight end. But the linebacker is essentially getting picked right here. These refs don't really love calling pick plays. This one a lot less egregious than the one Tampa Bay got away with, in my opinion. But either way, someone for Tampa Bay needs to pick this up. In my opinion, Zion McCollum needs to pick this up. However, none of them pick it up at all. This is a great job by this Saints offense, scheming something like this open. I mean, that really worked out. And you also got to give credit to Spencer Rattler, who was running towards his left. Like, yes, sure, someone was wide open, but you got to be able to notice the guy who's wide open as well. So good job by him. The throw does get there. They're able to pick up just a huge, gain on that one. That, ended up being a touchdown. So, not on that play, but on that drive. So getting a huge chunk play like that just makes things a lot easier. It really does. Tampa Bay definitely mixed up their strategy once they kind of had that meltdown in the second quarter, going with more man blitzes, which was, in hindsight, kind of a questionable thing to not be doing already when you think about no Chris Olave, who's, one of their big deep threats. and just how many blown coverages they had, how good of a job Kubiak was doing against the zone. Let's just stay away from that. And so they're going to try something like this, which is just a cover one man blitz. And for the Saints, who are going to run a play action, which had been really deadly in the first half, these play actions just aren't as effective against man coverage because, there's less people who are paying attention to the quarterback, right? So it's just not going to matter as much. And also, you see that when Rattler runs this play action, as of right here, there are multiple Tampa Bay players in the area. Now, I do have to put some criticism on Rattler here, and he's a young player. These are young player mistakes for sure. You see how he just takes the sack right here, and he didn't have to. The pressure was, he could have been aware of the pressure a lot earlier. He could have thrown the ball away. He has a eligible receiver towards the sideline, towards his left, so there's an easy throwaway option there. That was just a bad job by Rattler, in my opinion. But also, sometimes, again, Tampa Bay is going to do something similar here. It's set up as though it's a cover 3 zone, but sometimes these aren't even about making the quarterback play poorly. It's just about it's the right play given the team, where it's a 3rd down and 13. But that's how Tampa Bay is going to be rushing their 4 players. So, it's this exotic Todd Bowl stuff, showing things that you're not used to seeing, but Rattler's going to handle this well. Okay, well, maybe not perfect. You see that he kind of misses this throw a little bit. Still could have been caught, but even if that was caught, it wasn't going for a 1st down. And there's some of that, too. If you get a sack, it just becomes that much harder for to come back, and then you can keep blitzing and makes it even more difficult, and these things kind of compound on each other. So, again, for Rattler, I think this play was good other than a slight missed throw. Got to do a better job at getting, kind of minimizing some of these negatives. So then let's go over here. So what do you do if a team is playing man coverage and it's just not kind of working? They're doing a lot of these man blitzes. Well, if you have a deep threat like Rashid Shaheed, have him run a deeper route like that and throw it up to him. It makes sense, right? Well, watch how when you see Rattler runs this play action, fires it up. I mean, yeah, this is open. There's a window right here. This is exactly what you're hoping to see if you're a Saints fan. So this is why you do this play. Here's the issue. Rattler just underthrows this ball, and not by much. That was a heck of an interception by Zion McCollum, but that's still, it's an underthrow. And part of this, too, is, listen, he can throw the ball further than that. It's not an arm strength thing. I think in many ways, this is a not having a ton of first-team reps and not kind of realizing just how fast both of these 2 players are. Rashid Shaheed and Zion McCollum are both, really fast players, so you have to really push it down the field. This is just something you have to learn about, and it's a tough lesson to learn because that's obviously a huge play. Only down 4 at this point. Tampa Bay scores a touchdown on the ensuing drive, and now it's just a whole new game. So yeah, those are my thoughts. Again, just not an ideal ending to this game for the Saints, obviously, but I thought there was a lot of nice stuff and things to build off of for Rattler. Now, again, I don't know what you do. I think they'll have at least a little bit more playing time with Spencer Rattler. I don't think Carr's ready to come back just yet. Carr's still their guy. They're paying him for, he still has $80 million due after this year. $50 million of that is guaranteed. So he's still going to be their guy for a while. But, at least you could have a good backup. And who knows? Maybe Rattler plays well enough that you feel like he could be a starter in the future. Something like that. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.